y'all for each and every one of you being here this morning, pressing y'all way back into this place. I want you to know that I appreciate you being here. I thank God for you being here, and God, I want to speak to you. Over a year ago at the other church, I had preached a message, and God took me back to this message. I was in prayer deep. Like I went up there, and had a good time with God. He brought me back to this message, and it was going to help this church. I want to share this message with you. I preached it before, but it's going to come out different. I want you to be encouraged first. That was right, something right there. I want you all to be encouraged. And God is still in the miracle working business. God is still a healer, deliverer, waiting. I want you to be encouraged. If you're having trouble in your life, don't worry. God see it, God saw it, and God gonna deal with it. I said, God see it. He saw it before you saw it. Hallelujah. He saw it coming. Oh, you saw it when it got there. God saw it when it was on its way. And God, while it was coming, God was already figuring out a way to bring you out. God was already making a move to make your life better. So God see it, God saw it, and God gonna bring you out. The message title was, when I did preach it over a year ago, was Off the Chain. I don't know if y'all remember. The reason God took me back to this message, I believe, is because He wanted me to remember when I was once off the chain, and to remember how far I have come since then, and to see you all coming to where y'all gonna be in a little while. Woo! Woo! We spend too much time focusing on where we are at or where we have been instead of where we are going. We spend too much time trying to prove that we are no longer who we have been instead of trying to prove that we are where we are going. If you have been broke and impoverished, and you done made up your mind you're going to be successful and rich and powerful, you can no longer act broke, impoverished, and downtrodden. You have to at least leave that alone in your mind. You can't even answer questions the same way you used to. Like this is how a broke person answers a question. Child, you got $5? Man, Lord, please, where am I getting $5 from? I ain't got $5 and I don't know how long. That's how a broke person answer that phrase. A person who don't have it, but sees something going somewhere, and they go somewhere, they say, well, I don't have it right now, but I'll see what I can do. I don't know what I might have in a little bit. They're the same two broke folk. Except one see things as they always been, and one see things as they could be. One say, oh, I would never have a man. One say, well, I don't know what I'm going to have tomorrow. See, they just see it two different ways. Okay. This message off the chain, a lot of y'all gonna find yourself in this message. I'm not talking about you, I ain't talking to nobody about you. But when you find yourself, at least recognize that you are off the chain and you need to get back on the chain. Now this is the thing. It cannot, the bicycle don't work unless the chain is off. The chain got to be on the sprocket in order for the bicycle to move. Same thing with your life. You will not move forward in life as long as you are off the chain. Now, off the chain, they got the same meaning as you thinking in your head. And they don't have the same meaning as it did a year and something ago. That's what I love about God. He gave me the same message. He knows with a different revelation. Ooh, I like God. I like God. Y'all sitting here right now thinking, you're great. You ain't off the chain. But yes, you do. And you're going to find yourself in this message. You got a Bible, turn to Mark chapter 5. Chapter 5, starting at verse number 1. We're going to read verse number 1 through 5 first. And we're going to go all the way through number 20. But we're going to start at verse number 5. After I pray, after I preach this message, I teach this message, we're going to come up and I'm going to pray for people. You ain't telling on yourself by coming up for prayer. What you're asking yourself, or what you're telling the devil is, you're going to be free. You're going to be delivered. And you're not going to leave him off the chain no more. When you leave here, you want to be old. I know some people should be at the altar. This is the story about Jesus, his awesome power. Being off the chain ain't just started. It's been started. It was going on when Jesus was living on earth. He's living right now, walking the earth. This was still going on. It says, and they came over unto the other side of the sea, into the country of the Gadarenes. And when he was come out of the ship, immediately there met him out of the tombs a man with an unclean spirit, who had his dwelling amongst the tombs, and no man could bind him, no, not with chains, because he had been often bound with fetters, or shackles, that means shackles, and chains, and the chains had been plucked asunder by him, and the fetters broken in pieces. Neither could any man tame him. And always, night and day, he was in the mountains and in the tombs crying and cutting himself with stones. First of all, you got to understand what type of man this was. This man was what the world would call today hardcore. He couldn't stop. They would put shackles on his feet. He would break them. They would put handcuffs on him. He would break out of them. And he slept in the graveyard. I don't know nobody in this room that hardcore. This man here was hardcore. He would actually sleep in the graveyard. That's where he stayed at all day and all night. He would go to the mountain and cry and cut himself and sleep in the graveyard. And he was nothing born hardcore. But it is not a good thing to be off the chain. It is a popular saying, but it is not a good thing. Being off the chain means can't nobody tell you nothing. Can't nobody control you. Not even you yourself. A lot of y'all are bougie and off the chain. Wait a minute. You don't go to the club. You don't hang in the street. But can't nobody tell you nothing. Can't nobody tell you what to do. Can't nobody control you. Who you think I'm grown? You go to this church, I can preach to you. I can tell you all these things, but he can't really tell me what to do. I'm grown. And you are truly off the chain. Being off the chain will leave you lonely and miserable. And the only person you will really be hurting is yourself. This man was in the mountain by himself, in the graveyard by himself, crying out to God, or crying to the moon where he was crying to, and he was cutting himself, and he was miserable. He was lonely, and he was miserable. See, because when you're off the chain, you destroy every relationship, every friendship, and every opportunity for success God puts in front of you. They call it, or what they call it is a self-destructing spirit. You have friends for 2 weeks before you and them just don't see eye to eye. Woo. Know why? You are off the chain. It ain't everybody. It's you. You go to a job maybe for 2 months. You can't stand them folk at that job. They try to tell you this. They ain't supposed to. They're your boss. But you don't want to hear nothing folk got to say. Why? Because you ain't got to put up with this. You ain't got to do this. You can find another job. And know what you're going to be? Unemployed, broke, hungry, and lonely. If you don't be careful, you're going to be sleeping in the graveyard. Why? Because you are off. It ain't them folks. tell you nothing. Can't nobody teach you nothing. And sure enough, can't tell you what to do. And even though you ain't in the streets, no, you ain't sleeping around, you are still off the chain. I like it. I like it.